Greetings, vloggers, vloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty, here at you again this week with another vlog or podcast, however you see it. And we're here today to share a little bit of the glimpse of the life of autism. As many don't know, if you're new here, I'm a middle-aged autistic man. I've been living on my own for over 7 years now, 5 years over in my new place, and I've had a part-time job for over 15 years. And I've been living this autism thing for most of my life. I was diagnosed at the age of 13. So I've been there, done it, done many of the things that we have come used to of living the autism world. And I write about that every day. And you'll see a little glimpse of that in my blog posting, and I share a post every day. And that's just a part of my life and how it is. So today I've been thinking, and I've been trying to come up with a topic for this week, and there's been many I've been dancing around with in the moments that I'm thinking about that. And it really got me down to what is thinking itself? And what do I, as an autistic person, how do I handle things when I'm thinking thoughts that are ruminative, or what some people would call looping in nature, or, just dealing with things like that, or maybe I'm lonely and I feel isolated. Many people know that, my life changed last year, and I wouldn't say it changed. It's always changing. Life is always changing. But in last April, it took a turn where my mom, who I'd been constantly, spent the life with, and I still do, um, has resulted to becoming a full-time caregiver for my father, who had an injury in 2024. So, that required me to be more independent, and I have lived on my own for over 7 years. But it took the reality of having to untether more from my mother and, learn how to be independent more and be more responsible, do the right thing, so on and so forth. But in reality, it was a bit difficult at first. It gets better. But in reality, how do I handle those moments, And I think anybody who's autistic can relate with what when I say those moments. Those moments when you're feeling down and out about yourself, or maybe, you're feeling lonely or isolated, or, you know, um, maybe you're having those ruminating thoughts that are hard to dissipate sometimes. And I won't lie to you, I have them. I think anybody who is autistic can have them if they're not, you have to manage them well. But I think for me, I had to learn, and I'm still learning. I mean, sometimes you have these thoughts and they won't go away, and they're hard. They're hard to deal with. They're not easy. Sometimes they just want to make you curl up in a ball and lay in bed and feel, horrible and, washed out and tired and burn out. And granted, when you do things consistently, and sometimes you are burned out, sometimes you're tired, and that's okay too. But you can't make it be a habit to feel isolated, lonely, and be down and out about yourself all the time. You have to get up, and you have to get going and get doing as hard as it can. And even as we're looking into, the winter blues, the winter isolation, Christmas time, all of that, it can be hard, and it is hard sometimes. Sometimes, it can be hard to get moving and get going and do the things that you can do. And when the winter weather makes it harder for us to not get out and do the things we need to do, we have to be creative sometimes and find our own way out of it. For myself, anyway, how to, getting out of that isolation bit, and that, being hard on myself, because I am a lot, and it's really, really hard. And, it's not something I would wish on anyone. At least, now as we move forward through the year, I'm in a better spot than what I was. I let go of, the thoughts of harm, the thoughts of, wanting to fill the pity party, wanting people to feel sorry for me. Those are all over, and things do turn out to be better. And eventually you have to learn to let go of what hurts you and realize that others can't help you. Sometimes you have to help yourself in that process. And it is a process, I do have to say. But, you have to keep going. And I think that's the hard part sometimes. As much as you don't want to keep going, you have to, because there are people who depend on you, people who are there for you and worry about you and care for you. But I think it's hard when you feel like you're all alone and left, in a sad state. And I don't feel that way. I think it took a lot of time to feel that way. About two Christmases ago, I didn't really put any effort into Christmas. I was down and out, and I was coming off of a relapse, and I was feeling really, upset about myself and didn't want to do anything. And because Christmas was hard that year, I had lost a colleague. She had died suddenly. Um, Transportation was changing, and that was a hard thing to deal with. And eventually I learned to get over those things, and they did become better for me. But I mean, if I had sat there and felt sorry for myself all the time and been down and out and not feeling, getting the motivation to get out and do, it would have been worse. And sometimes, it is hard when we don't have the reality of looking into a crystal ball and saying, hey, this is how it's going to be. And and we're going to do this to get through things. It's hard. It really is. I think, sometimes we are burnout, we are overworked, and sometimes we do need the rest. But in the same vein, we don't need to be to the point where we're just bogged out and feeling down and out about ourselves. We have to, fight that loneliness, fight that isolation, and ultimately fight those thoughts that we're having, that bring us down. We have to do things that keep us entertained, keep us busy, keep us going. We have to take care of ourselves in whatever way that works for you. Sometimes it's even just getting in the shower and cleaning yourself up because, that in some way will make you feel better. And, it's being grateful for the things that you have too. And, knowing that, you have these things and they're going good for you if they are, and that, you have to look at what you do have versus what you don't have sometimes. And, that too has helped me, in a way of knowing that you know, it's okay. We're gonna make it through it. It's gonna be okay. And yeah, there are times I want to just say, I don't want to do things, but I think more it's not like that anymore. It's more like, I want to go ahead and I want to, try to get something done every day. For example, today I had totes in my living room that have been here since the first of the month. Today is the 13th. And I wanted to make a goal for myself today that I was going to get those to the basement and get those in storage because I was tired of seeing them lay in my living room. And very well I should have been. And that, I needed to make that effort on myself to get those down there and get those in storage and out of my living room floor so that, maybe it would look a little more decent in my living room. And, that was one thing. Another thing this week was, working to get the lighting situation with my Christmas lights under control. So everything in my Christmas display would light up. And, even my lamp that had not been functioning for some time, even because I had put a smart plug in and it didn't work, you know, working to find those solutions too. That was something that I did this week. and it mattered, and just like making sure things are clean in the process too, that all matters. And sometimes you have to push yourself just a little bit every day and do something. I think, I'm not the person who's going to sit there in pajamas or not get dressed every day. I have to get dressed every day. I have to get up and I have to do something, whether it's read something on the internet or read a book or, watch TV. It has to be something that I have to do something because I know that's what has to keep me going, no matter how hard it is. I have to be the one, and I have to have the drive to get going. And if I don't have that, and I start to isolate, and I start to feel lonely about things, and I start to ruminate, that's when we get into trouble. That's when we feel down and out about ourselves, and we feel so depressed, and we feel so out of it. So I think it's important to do something. Even if you don't have a way to do something, you have to find something that you enjoy, that you can find for you. Now, granted, sometimes that takes putting forth the effort and, doing those things. And, I have to do that. That has to be from my responsibility. That has to come from me. I have to be the one to do it. If I don't do it and I don't put forth the effort that I want to do to put those things through and make them happen, then that's on me. And I can't have a right to complain when I don't feel, I feel like the world is against me, or, I want to play the tell of woe, or, I want to throw a pity party. That if I didn't take that initiative and I didn't do something, then that's on me. And I have to be the one that, has to take responsibility for that. you know, Life happens. Things don't always go according to plan. You're not always going to be able to do the things that you expect to do. And I know as autistic people, we're often, stuck on our routines and our rituals, but sometimes those things get changed. Sometimes, those things, they change and it's hard. And, you know, you have to learn how to go with things. And even if you think, something sounds boring and you're invited to it and you have a little bit of an inkling you need to do it, you need to go ahead and do it. I did a couple things the last few days. Well, I did get my teeth cleaned on yesterday, and that was a very well experience, and I'm glad I got to do that. It's been many years since I had that done, and I feel great about it, and I want to work towards better oral hygiene. But another thing was I got to sit with my father for a little bit. And if everybody's ever read about me and my father, we've had kind of a dynamic over the years, but life changes. And so we got to enjoy some time, and I got to take care of him for a little bit while my mother got to take care of herself and practice self-care. Likewise, this morning, my mother, I, and a friend went to our church's vendor show and craft show and cookie sale. So we got to get out just a little bit and see things and get out in the town just a little bit. Even if it's that little bit of something, it matters. And you may think, oh, I just went to the church, or I just went to, maybe ride with my mother to the pharmacy to pick up somebody's script. That was something, and that mattered. Or if it's even just going to the mailbox to get the mail. And I have a mailbox out here. The mail comes 6 days a week, and I can tell you every 6 days I am in that mailbox. Now, granted, I get a newspaper, 5 out of 6 of them usually, but I feel it's important to always go to the mailbox because it matters. And I would feel devastated personally if I did not go to that mailbox, and I would be worried that my letter carrier would be concerned. So that would be something that would be on my mind, and that it would be something that would bother me. But I think, you have to keep going. You have to do things that matter for you. You have to fight it. And as hard as it is to fight it, when we're tackling things like ruminating thoughts, looping thoughts, isolation, loneliness, we have to do something about it. We have to put forth the effort and, take that initiative. We have to take that initiative to run as much as a normal routine as we can. And that, my friends, is what matters in that realm. So I wanted to share those thoughts for a few minutes today. If you haven't already, be sure to follow me, follow, share, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and X at Dustin's Dynasty. I'm on the web. That address is www.dustinsdynastyusa.com. And lastly, I have a link tree with all my handles to my podcasting platforms and my socials. You can sign up for my weekly email and get on my website and everything. That is under Dustin's Dynasty under Linktree. Again, I want to thank you for listening today. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. Remember, you are loved, you matter, you are enough. Stay safe and warm, everyone, and we'll talk at you soon. Bye for now.